Elise was ready to walk down the aisle with her pristine white dress and perfect hairstyle. But when informed by her mother that her fiancé, Tyler, hadn't shown up and was missing, her world crumbled. Abandoned at the altar, Elise had to face and overcome this devastating disappointment. However, just when her life seemed to be finally back on track, an unexpected letter appeared, shaking all her certainties once again. Hello, my friends. I am Linda, and this is Linda's Love Stories. I hope you enjoy this story. Elise had always dreamed of her wedding day. Since she was a little girl, she envisioned herself walking down the church aisle in a beautiful white dress, heading toward her true love. At 28, she believed that this dream would become a reality. Elise worked as a journalist in a big city, far from her small hometown in the countryside. It was during a happy hour after work that she met Tyler, a charming publicist 5 years her senior. Their eyes met and soon they were chatting animatedly, discovering several things in common. "I can't believe you're from the countryside too. Which town are you from?" Tyler asked excitedly. When Elise mentioned the name of the city, Tyler's eyes widened in surprise. "Really? I'm from there too. What an incredible coincidence." From that moment on, the two spent hours reminiscing about places and people from their hometown. Although they had never met before, there was an instant connection between them. In the following months, Elise and Tyler became inseparable. She was charmed by his caring and attentive nature, always surprising her with small romantic gestures. Tyler, in turn, admired Elise's intelligence and determination. The marriage proposal came as a surprise during a picnic in the park on a sunny Sunday. Elise didn't hesitate to say yes. She felt that Tyler was the man of her life and could hardly wait to start this new phase with him. Initially, the couple planned to have just a simple ceremony at the courthouse. However, when Elise shared the news with her family, everyone was ecstatic and insisted on organising a traditional celebration at the city's church. "Daughter, you are our only girl. Let us fulfill this dream of seeing you walk down the aisle in white," Elise's mother pleaded, her eyes brimming with tears. Seeing the family's excitement, Elise and Tyler agreed to the idea. It would be a perfect opportunity for both families to finally meet. In the weeks leading up to the big day, Elise was radiant with happiness. She chose a beautiful wedding dress with a long train. Tyler seemed equally excited, always smiling during suit fittings and the selection of the wedding rings. On the eve of the wedding, the couple arrived in the small town where their families lived. Elise's family, who was organising the wedding, was in a frenzy with the event preparations. Elise took a deep breath as she saw the small church where she would get married, feeling butterflies in her stomach. That night, the families gathered for a welcome dinner at a local restaurant. Elise watched anxiously as her parents finally met Tyler's parents for the first time. It was then that she noticed something strange. Tyler's mother turned pale upon seeing Elise's parents looking scared. Throughout the dinner, she remained silent and uncomfortable. "It must just be wedding nerves," thought Elise, trying to shake off her worry. The big day finally arrived. Elise woke up early, with a mix of anxiety and joy. She spent the morning getting ready with the help of her mother and bridesmaids, amidst laughter and some emotional tears. When she was ready, Elise looked at herself in the mirror and smiled. The white dress was a dream, her hair was impeccable, and the makeup enhanced her natural beauty. She could hardly wait to see Tyler's reaction. "It's time, dear," said her mother, adjusting the veil. Elise got into the car that would take her to the church, feeling her heart race. However, upon arriving, she noticed some unusual activity. Her mother got out of the car and returned minutes later with a worried expression. "What happened, Mom?" Elise asked, feeling a tightness in her chest. Her mother hesitated before responding. "Dear, Tyler hasn't shown up. No one knows where he is. His parents didn't come either." Elise felt like she had been punched in the stomach. This couldn't be happening. She grabbed her phone and called Tyler dozens of times, but all the calls went to voicemail. Tears began to roll down her face, smudging her makeup. After more than an hour of anxious waiting, a decision had to be made. Elise's mother offered to inform the guests about the cancellation, but Elise insisted on doing it herself. With a broken heart, she walked down the church aisle. The guests looked at her with a mixture of pity and curiosity. Elise took a deep breath, trying to hold back the tears. "Friends and family, I would like to thank all of you for being here," she began, her voice choked with emotion. "But unfortunately, the wedding is cancelled." A buzz took over the church. Elise felt her legs give way and was supported by her mother. In the following days, she desperately tried to contact Tyler, but it was as if he had disappeared. Upon returning to the town where she and Tyler had worked and initially met, she discovered that he had resigned from his job without giving any explanation. The following months were difficult. Elise fought against sadness and the feeling of abandonment. Her parents and friends tried to cheer her up, but she felt betrayed and humiliated. Over time, however, she gradually relearned to smile and believe in love again. 5 years passed. Elise had rebuilt her life. She met a kind and loving doctor whom she married after 2 years of dating. Now she was expecting the couple's first child. Life finally seemed to be back on track. On an ordinary afternoon, however, Elise came home after a day of work and found an unexpected letter in the mailbox. Her heart raced upon recognizing the handwriting on the envelope. "Elise, I'm sorry to come back into your life like this, but I would like to meet with you," said the letter. "I need to tell you that I was deceived and I need your help to seek the truth." The signature was from Tyler. Elise was paralyzed, unsure of how to react. Part of her wanted to ignore that letter and move on with her life, but another part longed for answers after so much time. That night, she talked to her husband about the situation. To her surprise, her husband was understanding and supportive. "If this is going to help you close that chapter of your past, I think you should go," said the husband, holding her hand affectionately. Elise and Tyler met at a discreet cafe in the city centre. Tyler seemed restless, and Elise felt the tension in the air from the moment they sat down. He took a deep breath before he began to speak, his voice laden with weight and regret. "The night before our wedding, my mother recognized your father at the dinner," Tyler said, avoiding direct eye contact with Elise. "They had a brief romance in their youth. It was something that your father probably doesn't even remember. For him, it was a fleeting thing, but for my mother, it was a crucial moment." Elise watched him closely, her mind racing in all directions, but she remained silent, waiting for him to continue. "Shortly after that relationship, my mother started dating my father. And it was around this time that she discovered she was pregnant. She told him that she wasn't sure who the baby's father was. My father, well, he said it didn't matter. He loved her and promised to raise the child as his own, regardless of the truth. They moved on with their lives, and I grew up believing that my father was just my father." Tyler's voice faltered for a moment and he looked down, clearly uncomfortable with what he was about to say. "They never saw the man with whom my mother had that brief romance again. My mother moved on, and on the day of that dinner, she found out that he had gotten married and had a daughter. And that daughter is you, Elise." He paused for a long moment before continuing. "On the eve of the wedding, my mother confessed to me that maybe, just maybe, you and I could be children of the same father." Elise felt the world spinning around her. She could barely believe what she was hearing, but Tyler continued, as if unburdening years of suffocating weight. "I panicked," Tyler admitted, his voice now trembling. "The idea that I might be about to marry my own sister. It destroyed me. I didn't know what to do, so I ran away. I just couldn't handle it." Elise's eyes filled with tears. The pain of the past revived, and the revelation of the reason hit her even harder. "But why didn't you tell me anything, Tyler? Why did you leave me without an explanation?" "I was terrified," he replied. "Over the past few years, I tried to get my dad to take a DNA test, but he always refused. He said he was my father, regardless of any test, and that it wouldn't change anything. But I needed to know the truth. And now, I need your help." Maybe your father would agree to take the test. Elise could barely process what she was hearing. It felt like a nightmare. She went home and talked to her father about everything Tyler had revealed. Her father was in shock, but vaguely remembered a brief relationship before meeting Elise's mother, though he didn't recognize Tyler's mother. After much discussion, Elise's father agreed to take the DNA test. The weeks of waiting were tense, but finally the result arrived. Elise and Tyler opened it together, hearts heavy. The relief was immediate. Elise's father was not Tyler's biological father. Tyler's father was, in fact, the man who had raised him. Tyler let out a deep sigh, tears streaming down his face. "I'm sorry, Elise. If this secret hadn't been kept for so long, maybe things could have been different between us." Elise looked at him, sad but serene. "I forgive you, Tyler. I hope you find the peace you're looking for." Tyler thanked and wished happiness to Elise, her husband, and the baby on the way. They said their goodbyes, knowing that that chapter was finally closed. In the days that followed, Elise reflected a lot on everything that had happened. She felt sad about the story behind that abandonment in the church, but at the same time, grateful for the direction her life had taken. One night, while Lucas caressed her pregnant belly, Elise smiled. She realized that not every story ends like a fairy tale, with a passionate kiss or a happily ever after. Sometimes, the ending can be bittersweet, with valuable lessons and a new beginning. Elise knew that she would carry the scars of that experience forever, but now they were part of who she was, a stronger, more compassionate woman grateful for the life she had built. The love she shared with her husband was deep and true, born not from a fairy tale but from real choices and imperfect moments. As she fell asleep in her husband's arms, Elise felt a peace she hadn't experienced in a long time. The past could finally rest, and the future was full of promises. If you enjoyed, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment with a number from 1 to 5 to let us know how much you liked the story. Also, watch the video that is currently on your screen. See you soon.